Well, can you believe it's over 3 years since I did my Lidl conversion, so I'm going to do another one. But what I am going to do is I'm going to do it with a unique covering system. So let's crack on, and now, as always, I'm just going to make it up as I go along. Just quickly use the vibrating sander to get just those little moulded beads along the top surface and the moulding. So, sanded. I have decided I'm going to do the ailerons. So what I'm going to do is I am just going to run a ruler from that corner to that corner, and then I'm going to run a line along here. I'm going to cut that off square with a nice sharp knife. Then the idea is I've got some spar material here which I'm going to then glue after I've straightened the wings, and then I'm going to put these nice wooden proper trailing edge on. So now straightening the wings, I've got about 4 or 5 bits of heavy duty tissue. I'm using a model covering iron on full whack, full temperature, and all I'm going to do is this tissue, I'm going to just pour some cold water over, and then I am just going to apply the heat. It's very easy procedure to do. There's various different techniques, so I'm just going to place that on there. The tip to remember is if the tissue dries out, you're going to burn the wing. So if you just keep the iron moving, get it nice and hot. The one technique I do like is possibly just heating that right up and then just straightening it over the edge of the bench, but work both ways, and you'll see how flexible it gets. And it works very well, and it's great for taking out dinks on any foam wings. So that's the wing straightening done. Right, so I have straightened the wings. Just to be on the safe side, I've loaded this with some weight. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use this, got this from Home Base a while ago. It's called, it's like it's 2-part bonding, so for making miters. It's a miter kit. I really like it because the idea is that you apply one side with the super glue, the other side with a spray, bosh, job done. It really works well. So what I'm going to do is I am going to apply the super glue all the way along the edge. Like so. Keep that up. And then I'm going to hang this over the edge so it's not touching anything. I'm going to add the weight so it's nice and straight with the bench. And I'm going to get the activator. And then I'm just going to add this to this. Be warned, once it's on, it ain't coming off.
strawberries. Don't mind if I do. Right, so the important thing, we steamed flat the wing, we cut the trailing edge square, and then we stuck the trailing edge on. I've left this overnight with some heavy weights. Now, top tip here is I've left that with the ruler, and the reason being is that even this tub has made a small indentation. Ironically, you'll get rid of that. There's a tiny little bit there, but this is looking absolutely cracking. I'm well chuffed with it. I did think about putting another spar in, but do you know what? Because we're doing this brown paper covering technique, do you know, I think I'm going to leave it as an experiment. I mean, it's only $7.99. Take it off and you look at it and you go, oh, just one last go. I'll give that one last go, and end up taking all the veneer off of the foam wing. So I would, if you're doing this for the first time, err on the side of caution. There you go, I'm going to leave that as is. Beautiful. So, let's talk brown paper. This is what came in some Amazon packaging. Now there's two types. There's this, or there's this. Now, I think, as I've already discussed, I have actually done some experiments. There appears to be very little different in it. This possibly feels a little bit thicker. So I've decided to go for this. Okay, so this is, I do understand from the YouTube that quite a lot of people use the very thick brown paper, and I thought for a model of this size, as I say, this is an experiment, and they also say don't use the recycled one. What I'm going to do is, because we've got this a little bit crinkled, I've just got my iron. It's on the top setting, soft cloth underneath. And all I'm going to do is this is just going to take those creases out. I tell you what, I hope my wife's not watching. I could be finished if she sees me doing a good job of this. But that's actually bringing that out, getting rid of all the little, right, after the cleaning up. Brown paper's ready, brush is ready. My 50-50 mix of this Evo Stick Super Evo Bond PVA, so it's 50% water, 50% PVA. Now I'm going to apply this liberally, I think, on my previous experiments. So remember, I'm doing the whole wing. Bear in mind we want to fold this over. I'm going to do the trailing edges as well. Right, and there we go. So I'm just going to leave that to stand there. And then this is the brown paper. Being my previous experiments, I'm being quite generous with this. Oh, right, there we go, I haven't torn it. Okay. Right, so this is where it gets very fragile. I'm going to put that on there like so. Now, I'm applying this side as well, because the logic is that it soaks through into the bit that I pre-treated. Sure the brown paper connoisseurs. We're having a field day on this one, yes, it's on Facebook. In the cabin, we'll check out the wing, see how it looks. I've left it 24 hours. Look at that. Wow. Right, there we go. There's the scales. Put sticker on. 91 grams. And that's with the balsa trailing edge as well. I'm well chuffed for that. There you go. 2 coats of sanding sealer. Very pleased with it. Very pleased with it. Okay, So I have cut the rudder off, sat it on top and pencil lined just round inside, and then using this milling burr I have slowly trimmed it out, and that sits in there. So, hole cut. I could have used my little milling Dremel, but I wanted it to be a snug, tight fit, and I didn't want to get carried away. Top tip: when you're doing anything with foam, I always use this little bit of carpet, so it's slightly soft. So if you're digging in, you're not going to end up scratching the undersurface while you're doing it. So this one is just going to pop in there. Look at that, lovely. Okay, so the other thing. Okay, so the other thing I am going to do, have a bit of upcycling, is I'm going to have a go at using this plastic for the hinges. That's the Aileron hinges done. All I did was I cut myself a thin strip of this little top tip, cut it in a thin strip like this. But when you're feeding them in, little top tip, I just cut the ends at an angle. It makes it easier to actually fit them in. To hold them in, I'm not going to use super glue because I'm a little bit worried that the super glue make this plastic go hard and brittle. So what I am going to use, I'm going to use a modelling pin, and I'm just going to stick the modelling pin in through the spar and through the aileron, and then cut it off so it's not all the way through, and then just poke them in so they're not showing. Well, here she is, she's finished. Runs in at 246 grams. I just spray painted the wings with Humbrol acrylic spray paint in silver. A little bit of tape just to zhuzh it up. Sanding sealed the ailerons. Inside the cockpit is a 800 milliamp hour receiver battery, which is 4 AAA Eneloop batteries, and the C of G is just in front of that servo, so that runs out at 40 millimeters back from the leading edge. I mean, the nice thing is, if I need to add anything or take anything off, I've got a little bit of a spot there.